Hi everybody, welcome to the Cancer Cook's Kitchen. This is James. I just wanted to do a bit of an introduction today because I'm aware that I've done a few videos now and haven't really explained what the Cancer Cooks project is, or who I am, or who David is, or where David is. Well, David isn't here anymore. David was my husband, and David was diagnosed with stage 4 bowel cancer in September 2018. David had 14 months of chemotherapy and died in December 2019. And David's my inspiration and also my qualification for doing this, because I'm not a nutritionist and I'm not a chef. I cook for a living. But really my experience of caring for David throughout his time on chemotherapy is what I want to pass on to you, because when David was first diagnosed, you get given a leaflet by the hospital, and I think ours was from the Christie, and especially with bowel cancer, you get given a list of foods, of recommended foods and foods to avoid, and I remember looking at it and everything on the list of foods to avoid, fresh fruit and vegetables, wholemeal bread, wholemeal pasta, were all the things that you either already cooked at home or the things that you would use to improve your health. And everything on the fine to eat list, things like bacon, hamburgers, crisps, sweets, chocolates, biscuits, were all the things that you assumed were the bad foods and that you should avoid because they gave you cancer, because you read it in the Daily Mail. So I thought, well, this is rubbish, I can do better than this, and I was straight on the internet and I was researching cancer fighting diets, and I was buying the books, and I thought, right, we'll find our way through this. So the first thing I did was when the book arrived, I got the first recipe, I went out and I bought everything. I bought the pressure cooker, I got all the organic vegetables, I got hand-dyed kelp from Cornwall, and I made this broth that was meant to be your base. And I remember being incredibly proud of it and making this meal, and I presented it to David, and he just said, "That smells like piss. I'm not eating that." And this was the beginning of many of the arguments that we had about food, because David wasn't eating, and having cancer, some of that amplifies, and this is the reason for these videos, is to try and help you avoid some of that conflict in your relationship as somebody looking after somebody with cancer. So I hope that some of these tips prove useful and stop you having some of the arguments. So today I am going to do some cooking. Well, it's not really cooking, it's a little bit of slicing. And I'm going to show you how I used to use up ingredients from a roast dinner. So one of David's favourite foods before he was ill was a roast dinner. However, because I cook for a living and Sunday used to be my only afternoon off, I would refuse to cook a roast dinner because it's too much mess, it's too much hassle. Plus, where we live, we're really lucky. We've got some really great gastropubs out in the Loon Valley. We've also got a carvery next door, so we could go, we could eat, somebody else could do the washing up. However, when David became unwell, at first we'd go out on Sundays with family, and that was really nice, but as David's disease progressed, that became difficult, because it became difficult for him to sit in the dining room chair for too long after eating. So the way that bowel cancer works, or David's bowel cancer works, is he was inoperable, so he had basically a lump in his tummy all the time. So the food would go in and it wouldn't be able to get past. And this is the reason why Christie's gave us that book, because you need to be consuming foods that get broken down quickly and can pass on through. And those fruit, vegetables, fibre, whole foods, they're just going to block you up, and that can be really dangerous. So I started to relent and cook a roast dinner at home. So these are the leftovers here. I've got some Yorkshire puddings, I've got some beef, and I've got some potatoes. We'd always have some left over. So this is something that I would do, just so that David had something around that he could pick at if he felt hungry the next day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn these into just like a mini little snack, because the idea is when you've got bowel cancer and you've got that smaller stomach space and you've got that difficulty processing, rather than have one big meal like a massive roast dinner and then feel full and uncomfortable for however long it takes for that to get digested, smaller meals. So small roast dinner, keep the leftovers if you want to come back for some later. So first of all, I'm going to take these potatoes, I'm going to chop them up roughly, and I'm going to compile the roast dinner canapé. And I'm going to turn these roast potatoes, they're going to be a little bit dry after having been sat in the fridge overnight. So we're going to add plenty of mayonnaise. Now, mayonnaise is one of those things that you can absolutely use with abandon because it is full of fat, and so this one is great for keeping the calories on, and it's just going to give us that moisture to that potato salad. And then here I've got some horseradish. Now it's really interesting what you'll find with flavours as your partner goes through chemotherapy. And one of the things is flavours will change, and people will tell you that you can't taste things, and things taste different, things have a metallic taste, and there's no hard and fast rule, and that is going to change through treatment, and it will change day to day over the course of a week when you have chemotherapy before. So you're going to have to play around with flavours, and sometimes some things will be right and some things wrong. So horseradish, I found David could eat all of the time, wasn't a problem. Before he was ill, absolutely loved chilli. At certain points in his cycle, just couldn't face chilli at all. One big change for me was garlic, which was, I used, like most people, use garlic in absolutely everything, loads of it, believing it's, great for you. David just couldn't bear garlic. The smell of garlic, cooking garlic on anybody else's breath. So that was one big adjustment that I had to make. Was learning to cook without so much of the onion and the garlic. So I've got my Yorkshire puddings. I've got some beef here. I'm just going to thinly slice this. Now you could replace this with chicken, with pork, with whatever you wanted to. I'm using beef. Beef was one of those ingredients that we kind of used, David, in moderation because you didn't want too much, because it is not as difficult to digest, but great big lumps of meat, take a while to pass. So I've just chopped it very finely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my vegetables, which I'm using pea shoots here today. Then I'm going to top with my horseradish and potato salad. Beef on top. And there we have that. A little Sunday roast canapé. So I'm going to make up a few of these. And then I would just leave them out. Not in the fridge, better at room temperature. And this is another thing you'll find with your partner going through treatment. One of the few things that we can do as carers is cook, provide food, and you will find yourself pretty much just talking, asking about food. What do you want? Can I get you anything? Are you hungry? Do you want this? Do you want that? And for the person that you're caring for, that can get quite annoying. Because, you know, they're in a quandary. They know they should eat, they want to eat, but they're just not hungry, or if they are, they don't know what they want, or, you know, it's something that can cause conflict. And this is all about finding ways to navigate around that conflict. So what I would do with David is I wouldn't ask, do you want a cup of tea? Do you want a biscuit with that? Do you want a cake with that? I would just make it. I would put it on the side with the biscuit next to the cup of tea, and if it went, it went. If it didn't, no worries. And that was a much better way of doing things than I had been doing previously. So with these, all I would do is, you know, just leave them out. Don't put them in the fridge where they can't be seen. Just put them somewhere where he knows that they're there. If he walks past them and fancies them, great. If he doesn't, no problem at all. So there you go. That's our little roast pudding potatoes canapes. So nice to meet you. Hope you enjoyed the introduction. I'm going to load more recipes this week. I'd love it if you leave me comments. I'd love it if you subscribed. Most of all, I really hope that my experiences can help in some way. Take care. Bye.